How's it going? Today I'm talking about Proof of Time Half Marathon Training, Week 8. This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for slow, back-of-the-pack Run Disney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong, have a bigger buffer ahead of the balloon ladies, and have time to stop for character photos. Keep listening if your goal is to PR in fun, cross the finish line without feeling broken, and have energy to enjoy the Disney parks. Getting back on the training schedule, even though this is actually a vacation week for me. So this week marks my and Royal's 10-year anniversary since we got married, June 24th, 2016. We got married. We actually didn't do anything really for a honeymoon. When we first got married, we had wanted to go to Thailand, and we didn't have the money to go to Thailand at the time. And so what we did instead was over 4th of July weekend, we did 2 days in San Diego and just had a little vacation there on the beach, went surfing, which if you guys have followed along with me, like I'm not much of a beach person, but doing surfing, like that was pretty fun. And then we just hung out, we walked around and had a great time. But the plan was do 2 days, maybe 3 days over that weekend for we called it a mini moon, little honeymoon. But the plan was save up money and go to Thailand. Things changed. So when we moved to Las Vegas in 2016, at that time, Royal had gotten a job working on the JLo residency here in Vegas. If you don't know, Royals, we call it his past life because now he owns and operates a chemical manufacturing company. The main product stabilizes dirt roads for dirt road construction. It makes the road hard like asphalt or cement, but you use the clay-based soil that you have. So it's used in rural countries, rural areas of the country, of the United States, parks, recreation areas where people don't have stable roads to be able to traverse. So that's what he does now. But before, he was in the entertainment industry and he designed the mechanical and electrical components to control systems that made things or people move across the stage or fly across the stage. So if you ever saw the JLo residency show, he designed the mechanisms, the electrical and mechanical components for the things that moved across the stage. So she had the dress. That's what it was called. Backstage, it was the dress. And they had a moon that moved around. They had all sorts of different things. But if you also think of Peter Pan flying around, if you think of just like Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour, when the stage opens up, when the stage rises. If you have ever seen things like Pink's show where she's flying through the air doing acrobatics, the mechanisms, the control systems and things moving those things is what he used to design. And so when we moved to Las Vegas, he was working 2 jobs. He worked his full-time job for whatever company he was working for at the time. And then somebody from the JLo backstage group knew Royal and they needed the electrical and mechanical components. And so they were like, hey, let's just sign him on as a 1099 and we're going to do this. Well, in case you don't know, I'm going to brag a little bit on my husband. He was so good at his job and he is a nice person that everybody liked him and he was really good at doing what he was doing. And so when he had like one job, I think the thing was they needed the dress to work, and whoever was working on it first, it just wasn't working. And so if you don't know the dress, she was standing on a platform with what looked like this long dress that wrapped around her waist. She clipped in at her waist and it moved forward. And as it moved forward, it moved up and it looked like the dress just spread out. I'll share something on my Instagram. I'm going to try and share it the day that this drops, and I'll show you what that looked like. And for some reason they just couldn't get it to work, and so they called Royal. He got it. He designed the mechanism and got it to work. Well, everything always breaks, and so they were like, you know what? Can you just like stay on for this? Residency shows are 3 nights performing most weeks, few days of rehearsals, but it's mostly at night. So there were long days, but he made it work. So anyway, we were doing all of this when we first moved to Las Vegas. And not me, Royal, doing all of this when we first moved to Las Vegas. He actually moved to Vegas first because of the residency show. He moved around Christmas 2015, and then Levi and I came out February 6, 2016. Did I say Christmas 2015? Anyway, timeline. We got married June 24th, 2016. So all of this is happening. I have a point to my story. So he's doing all of this, and we're saving all of the money from JLo. And I will say the residency was 3 years. He started out with this electrical and mechanical mechanism component. They liked him so much that they just kept saying, hey, stay on, give you more money. Hey, stay on, give you more money. Finally, it got to the point where they liked him so much and somebody else had left that, forgive me, theater people, I forget what it's called. Royal will probably kill me knowing that I forget what this is called. But he ended up being the person calling the show at the end of it. So, when you say, okay, dancers go, J-Lo go, singer go, so-and-so go, round 2 go. So, and they sit in that middle booth and they just watch the cues and they hit go and they say go and they say go. And so he ended up, by the end of it, that's what he was doing for the show. And of course, he was also there to fix the things that were broken. But he ended up hiring somebody else to do that part for him when he switched to the technical director role. I don't know what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. It's been a long time. Anyway, he did all of that. And with that, and planning for a wedding. So now this is the beginning of residency and planning a wedding. We recognized that we didn't actually want like this really big wedding. It had been planned that we were going to get married August 12th, 2016, back at my parents' house in New England, and we were going to have it catered. It was going to be really nice. And just the whole hubbub of it, we were like, this is taking away from what we want. We don't, this isn't what we want. So we ended up very last minute, 2 weeks before, we decided, you know what? We're just going to get married at one of the chapels here in Las Vegas. Not one of the chapels with Elvis, but just one of the, you could go today if you wanted. But we did want some family members and some friends there. And so mainly his best friend, who was his best man, we wanted him there. And then my sister was my maid of honor. And then my family was there. His family is local. And we made it work. And we got most everybody we wanted there. There were a couple of people that were unable to make it, but it was like, I don't know, 20 of us total. It was perfect. Quick little ceremony in the 115-degree heat, but we also got to have Levi there. It was wonderful. But like with all of that hubbub and the stress of that, and then he couldn't take time off for a honeymoon anyway. We didn't have the money for a honeymoon anyway. So we're like, okay, we're just going to do this. And then as the years have gone by, we really haven't done anything for our anniversary. Our first wedding anniversary, he was working on a show, not a show, what do you call it? I don't know, a display at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that was the bane of my existence. I was livid. This was supposed to be a 2-week project. It ended up being 6 months. He was gone so much. And he would come back a little bit because he was still working on the JLo project, but it got to the point where on our first wedding anniversary, I was like, I just want you here for the one day. They couldn't do it. They could not have him be in Las Vegas with me for that. So they actually flew me out to him for our 1-year wedding anniversary because they could not have him be gone. And so I got to spend the evening. We went to dinner with him. I think I stayed for a day, but I had to be back to work. It was a big thing, but that was our first wedding anniversary. Second wedding anniversary would have been 2018. I actually don't remember what we did. We probably did something. 2019, we went to Cancun, or actually maybe we went to the Dominican Republic. We've gone to both of those places to resorts. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. Then the next year is 2020. World shut down. We weren't doing anything then. And then 2021 was when S hit the fan for his health. In the past 5 years, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25, we have been at the Mayo Clinic for his health, for his wedding anniversary. So this year, 10 years, I said, you know what? Let's do something. We can't really travel. because of his health conditions and things like that. And so we did a staycation on the strip, and I hung out. I had a couple of coaching things. I had my Stronger Faster Finisher group on Tuesday, and we went to dinner and I hung out. I got a massage, I got my nails done. I worked out a couple of times. And so that's what we did for our 10-year wedding anniversary. So goal was to work out a couple of times that week. So I started off Monday because we didn't go down to the strip until Monday afternoon. So I worked out Monday morning, did a 10K race pace tempo run. And it was originally supposed to be a rest day, but I was like, you know what? I want to stay on track. Past couple of weeks haven't been great. So let's just do this. Right. So I did. And overall, it was really good. Started off strong, contemplated what I had talked about a couple of weeks ago of doing multiple run intervals in a row where it was the race pace instead of alternating race pace, easy, race pace, easy. But I held back because I hadn't done the math for it yet. I didn't know how many times in a row I should do race pace and to make it get to where I wanted to go, because really what I was thinking was, well, maybe I will just get up to race pace for a 45-minute tempo run, or maybe I'll get up to race pace for a 60-minute tempo run and do it that way. And I hadn't done all the math, and I'm so glad I waited to do the math, because it makes more sense to get up to all race pace in a 45-minute tempo run than it is to get up to 60 minutes of a tempo run and then get up to race pace. It actually will take me so much longer. If you want, I can talk about that in a completely different episode on the difference between it. But if I get up to 10K race pace in a 45-minute tempo run, and then from there, stay at all of the intervals being race pace, and then build up from 45 minutes to 50 minutes to 55 to 60, and then 65 minutes total. Now, of course, 10-minute warm up, 10-minute cool down included in that. So not total 65 minutes of running race pace. That will actually go quicker doing it in that orientation, which now that I've seen it makes sense, but I didn't clock it. That I did not think of it that way at first. So this is why I recommend, like, let's look at it first instead of just willy-nilly try something out. Plan it out and see what the math actually shows that we should be doing. So glad I waited on that. I was really nervous about this morning in general that I'm doing this run, not because of the run that I did, because it was a lot going on. I still needed to pack. We had, the dog sitter coming. We had a car, like, Uber, whatever, coming. And I needed to return a few items. The return window was coming up. And it just was like one of those days where it's like a lot is going on. And I just was nervous. And so that made my heart rate go up already, but I got it done. And I also had been feeling like, oh, I haven't been making any strength progress lately. And one of the things I had to return because it was damaged and we needed it fixed was this coffee maker. If you haven't heard, I am a coffee snob. And because we need decaf and caffeinated beans, we have this really fancy coffee maker. And we just upgraded because our old one finally kicked the bucket. We had it for years. We had bought it refurbished. It finally kicked the bucket. And now this brand new one from the get-go didn't work. And so right away we started troubleshooting, calling them, and they were like, just send it in and we're going to look at it. We're going to fix it and figure this out. But it's 40 pounds. And so I had to put it in the car, bring it to UPS, take it out of the car, get into UPS, like managing the door, managing the car, everything like that. And I'm not very strong and I don't really like strength exercising. I do the bare minimum, but with this journey of doing my proof of time and getting faster, I'm also working on I'm also working on strength. And I am so proud of myself. I woman handled this box. 40 pounds. I got that out of the car, no problem. I could even shut the overhead hatchback on my SUV. Somebody did hold the door for me to get into UPS, but I was able to walk it all the way into UPS, bring it right up to the counter, easily put it on the counter, And it was just so incredible to see, like, okay, I know I felt like I haven't been making strength progress, but look at this thing that I was not able to do a couple of months ago. I mean, literally a couple of months ago, I couldn't, carry and lift and put the carry-on luggage, which was between 40 and 50 pounds. I couldn't put it in the overhead bin. And this one, 40 pounds. Now, I didn't lift it over my head. I probably could have, though, but I wasn't going to try it. This fancy coffee maker, I don't need it to break. I just needed to get it into UPS and put it on the counter, have them scan it and take it away. But I did it. It was a nice way to see, like, without looking at numbers of how much weight I can lift, this one instance of something, a real life example. I hadn't been able to do it before. And look at me now. Look at what I'm doing. And it was incredible. And I'm noticing that carrying Levi into the bathtub for his bath is easier. I don't feel like I'm relying on my bones to hold me up. Like literally, if you've ever seen somebody who is weak or who is hypermobile and they stand in different ways, it's because they're not relying on their muscles to hold them up. They're relying on their joints and their bones and just their skeleton holding them up. I didn't feel like I need to do that with Levi for his baths the past couple of weeks. So that is also incredible. It just was such a good feeling. And, we often think we can't do as much as we actually can. But during these strength workouts and in everyday life, I don't necessarily feel the difference until I have to do something like this. And I did it. It was great. And so after I did that, I did the speed workout, 10K race pace. And I did race pace, walk, easy pace, walk, and repeat. It felt great. First one always catches me like, oh, I bet I can go faster. But then by the third round, I'm like, oh no, Allie, maybe you can't do this. This is exhausting. When is this over? This is your reminder that if you catch yourself in the first round saying, ooh, this is too slow, I could totally go faster. Please wait until the end of the workout to decide if you need to make that faster. You can make it faster for your next workout because your body is rested and recovered. You're just starting that workout. Give it a little bit, give it the whole workout. So I was going to say give it a little bit of time, but no, give it the whole workout and decide next time I could increase it if you're going to. But based on how I have the speed workout set up, I have done these. I have tried these. And you may be listening like, what's a 10K race pace tempo run? It's technically not on your training schedule, especially if you're in stronger, faster finisher, because this isn't tried and true yet. I haven't completed this whole proof of time concept. So it's coming, but I'm going to adjust it on myself before you try it. But if you catch yourself thinking on a speed workout, like, oh, this is so easy, I could totally do more, please wait until the next one. If you actually can do more, maybe, well, if you're in stronger, faster finisher, talk to me about it. But if you're not, wait until the next time you do that speed workout before you actually increase the speeds, because you don't want to overly exhaust yourself. You want to challenge yourself so it changes you. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. But you also don't need to go significantly beyond that upper limit, right? Like going a little bit beyond that upper limit is good because you'll make progress, but you won't exhaust yourself, okay? Have the discipline to hold off on increasing that pace until next time. Trust the numbers on your screen from your training plans with my pace testing. I have the math in there that it should come out right. Now, of course, I make errors and sometimes I make it go too fast, but that's not the case I'm talking about. I'm talking about you feeling like it's too slow, not you feeling like it's too fast. Anyway, after the tempo run, I did 30 minutes of strength and I used medium weights, which is 8 reps of the exercise. Since I had 30 minutes, I did it circuit style. So I did one set of each exercise before I got to any of the second set. That way I made sure it was well-rounded and didn't skip any of the exercises. Since I only had a finite amount of time, I could not go beyond that 30 minutes. I did almost all of them twice, just not leg extension or ham curl, but I did the leg press twice. So it worked those same muscles in that way, just slightly different than the way it's used in the leg extension and the ham curl. And I am also going to start using, coming soon, using those strength workouts and my workouts in general as video examples for members in Stronger, Faster, Finisher. So you can see what a medium workout, like not how heavy I'm lifting, but the comparison of how quickly I can go through a lightweight workout versus how quickly I go through a medium weight workout and versus how quickly I go through a heavy weight workout. Not my actual weights. That comparison for you, not helpful. That doesn't matter because it's all about your numbers. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about what Susie Q is doing. Right? It's all about your numbers. But you can see a very distinct difference in how quickly I go through a set of 10 to 15 repetitions, how quickly I can get through a rest period for these light weights, and then how quickly or not quickly I go through with medium weights, how long I need to rest, and then how quickly or not quickly, heavy on the not quickly, I go through a heavy weight workout and how long I need to rest for my muscles to re-energize. So that's coming soon. The next day I did a cross training workout and I'm very frustrated because I typed out this whole thing about how the cross training went and then I used Google Sheets and I didn't have it marked as available offline and I wasn't connected to Wi-Fi and I actually typed it out on my iPad. Then I opened up my computer and it reset to what was on the computer because the computer was connected to Wi-Fi, the iPad wasn't, so I lost all of it. I do not remember what I said, but it was an incline walk at it was supposed to be 8 to 12%. If I remember this correctly, I felt like oh, yes, that's what happened. I felt like I was going to fall off. I actually chose a 7% incline and I was answering Voxer messages at the same time. And I actually had to slow my pace way down and I didn't go as high on the incline because I felt like I was going to fall off. So I actually had one hand holding on and I was reading through Voxer messages and then typing out quickly and doing that for my walk. And it was wild to me because I haven't been on a treadmill that I felt that way before. So my treadmill at home, my incline is okay. And I was thinking about it. Well, maybe I haven't been doing 7% incline. I should actually double check that and see how it actually feels. So remember, if your treadmill is different than what I have my settings at, you may not be able to go as high as I say in some of these settings. And that's okay. You just do what makes it challenging for you without having to go overboard, right? But I did some strength workout on this day at the hotel. I used dumbbells instead of the machines because I had just done strength the day before. And so I wanted to do something to keep consistent, but I didn't want to exhaust my muscles. They needed some recovery time from the day before. So I did similar exercises to what the machine would do, but in a different position and dumbbells. So this is a good example of where using light, medium, and heavy weight days comes into play really nicely and having a variety of exercises because doing the exercise that may activate the same muscles, for example, a seated row versus a bent over row using a dumbbell, seated row using the machine at home, it's working the muscles in a similar fashion, but I usually can't use as heavy of weight anyway. Like my comparable medium weight may not be the same on the machine to the dumbbell, but because it's using more stabilization of the muscles to stabilize the joint as it's moving through space because my hand is not locked on the machine. It's a different way of utilizing the muscles. So I did it with a dumbbell and I overall just did a light weight so that I could go through the motions, kind of check the box, tire them out a little bit because they got tired from the workout the day before. And now I'm not going to overly exhaust them, but I'm still going to work them. So that was the choice I made with the dumbbells with the strength workout at the gym at the hotel because I have a goal and I want to keep going. I wanted to do strength workout at least 2 days that week. So doing it Monday, Tuesday, not ideal every week, but this week, that was the way to make it possible for me to do this. Wednesday, Thursday, I did rest days. And then Friday, I did a hill workout at the gym. So we left the hotel on Friday. So I decided, get up in the morning. I'm going to do my hill workout in the morning because we didn't need to check out until like noon. And it was pretty good. I started off thinking the incline was off and the pace was off. And the pace was. I was on a treadmill that was in kilometers, not miles. And so I switched to another treadmill because I did not have the mental capacity to do the math of figuring out kilometer per hour versus mile per hour. I just needed to be able to hit a button and know what I was doing. And so I it felt right when I started, and I even caught so during the hill workouts on the treadmill and the other speed workouts on the treadmill, it often feels like it's going to be too easy, but partway through, like the fourth, fifth, you're like starting to really huff and puff. So I started with the treadmill being at the wrong pace, the wrong speed because it was in kilometers per hour. And I was like, this can't be this easy. And it just overall was weird. But so I switched the treadmills and got it figured out. I was able to do 10 rounds of it, which is what I should be doing. And uh and if I had increased the pace after the first one, I would not have been able to do it. It was so hard. And I was even like the incline again, I actually did less of an incline than I had planned because of what I had felt earlier in the week. And as I was nearing the 30 seconds limit for the hill intervals at rounds 8, 9, and 10, I even had to keep my hand on the handle to just have an extra safety mechanism because I was tired. I needed a little extra reassurance that I was not going to fall off the treadmill. So, this is one of those reminders that I mentioned earlier, and I will continue to mention. When you are first doing it in the first couple of rounds, have the discipline to hold off on making any changes if it's feeling too slow or too easy. Just wait until the next time you do that workout to make changes. Make note of it so that you remember to make that change, but don't make that change in the middle of the workout because you might not need to, and it might be too much by the end of all of it. The hill workout should be hard, but it shouldn't be impossible. And it shouldn't feel like you can't do all 10. You may question in the last couple of rounds, but you should absolutely actually be able to do it. Then on Saturday, I had my long run, 6.92 miles, and it was warm out, but not too much. And I drove over to my old neighborhood to use the community center there, the water stops along the routes and everything. And it was really good. It was much better than the previous weeks. I slowed it way down. I wanted to aim for 12-minute per mile running pace. Now, remember, my running pace is not your running pace. Please, please, please do not compare it. I use that number just as so that you can conceptualize what I'm going to say next. I really wanted to hit the 12-minute per mile, not go faster than that. My easy pace is actually 10 minutes and 55 seconds. So this would be a whole minute per mile slower. And I wanted to do that. And I did it for most of the intervals. I think I had 20 run walk intervals for my long run because it was 6.92 miles. And 4 of them, I was in the 11s. The upper 11s, it was slower than 11:30. Most of them were like 11:52, 11:56. I did have an 11:40 in there, which is a little too fast for my liking. 11:52, 11:56 is pretty darn close to 12-minute per mile that I'm okay with that. That's a couple of seconds. 20 seconds, that's pushing it a little too much. However, it technically is still slower than my easy pace. So an overall win, but an 80% is good enough for the actual goal of being no faster than 12 minutes per mile running pace. But overall, it felt great. I didn't have any problems with low sugar. I filled my water bottle 3.5 times. My bottle is 18 ounces, and I do 1 scoop of Scratch, 1 liquid IV each time I fill it, with the exception of that time that I half filled it. I had drank it my water half down and then filled it. So it was a little diluted, but still getting all those carbs in there. And it just was for where I was running by a water station. I knew that that was the best time to fill it and I didn't want to drain it. So I just refilled it. Anyway, 3.5 times, but 1 scratch, 1 liquid IV each time. I do that combination because of the flavor profile. I really like it. Scratch is a little is not sweet enough for my sweet tooth. So I add liquid IV to help with that, but liquid IV doesn't have enough carbs. So the combination of the two gives me more carbs and gives me that sweetness that I like. I stick with strawberry lemonade flavor when I'm running. That's my little treat to myself. I only drink that flavor when I am working out. Overall, long run great. Took a nice long hot Epsom salt bath afterward. I had stretched, I had foam rolled and did all that. And I just stay in the hot Epsom salt bath as long as I want, actually, until I have to pee. That is my go-to of when I need to get out. I will literally drain the tub if it starts getting cool. I'll drain the tub, fill it back up with some hot water for as long as I want. And I sit in there. Maybe I have a Diet Coke. Maybe I have some seltzer. Maybe I have a Gatorade. Maybe I have my full water bottle. I will literally just keep hydrating as I'm in the tub. And then once it's time to get out, that's because I have to pee. And that's when I get out. And Royal joked around with me like, we're not going to see you all day because you're going to go for this 2-hour run and then you're going to be in the tub for another 2 hours. So when are we going to see you? We'll see you at dinner time. And it's a little running joke. But that's what my family knows happens on a long run day. It's the same thing every time. It's go out for the long run, eat something after, and stretch at the same time, come home, take a hot Epsom salt bath. And they know I'm gone for a couple of hours. And that's it. That is part of my running routine. We know that the long run is going to take me however many hours based on what I'm training for. And then also I'm going to take that hot Epsom salt bath. And, for me, we are very fortunate. It's me and my husband and Levi. And so I don't have children. I don't have small children for sure. But this may be a conversation that you need to have with your family about expectations about what long runs or workout days look like and make it a habit so it's not a surprise when one random Saturday you're unavailable for 6 hours because you've consistently done it every single week. This is what mommy or daddy does on this day because they have a goal that they're working toward. Right? And you make it consistent. Royal knows this is a goal that's really important to me. And he's so supportive of it. Of like, okay, you're going to go run in the morning. Great. I'm just going to go work or I'm going to play video games or Levi and I are going to hang out and watch TV. Great. Perfect. You're going to be unavailable for 5 hours. Okay, no problem. This is a normal day for us. This happened to be on a Saturday. Normally my long run is a Friday, but I chose Saturday because I didn't want to do it on the treadmill at the hotel when I knew that Saturday was going to be cool enough I could do it outside. I actually wanted to do it on Sunday. However, Royal's dad, technically stepdad, his daughters were coming into town. They were coming in doing an RV trip. And so they were making their way through Las Vegas as they were going back home. So we were going to spend the afternoon on Sunday. And at the time of recording this, we did. And so I didn't want to go and run on Sunday morning and then not be able to do my hot Epsom salt bath, right? Because we just heard that's part of my long run routine. So I made it Saturday instead. I was going to do Sunday for the sole reason that Sunday was a little bit cooler here in Vegas, but I'm talking 4 degrees cooler. So at that amount for me personally, that's not a big deal. So I was like, okay, Saturday it is. So then I have all of Sunday to do whatever we need to surrounding family. And I did it. I made my workout work for me. I just needed to know a couple of days in advance. And I did. I think we knew by Thursday or Friday that we were going to go to their house for Sunday. We had talked about it the Sunday before at Father's Day and then confirmed it later in the week. And so I was very easily able to do my drop down of change my long run from originally Friday to Sunday and then from Sunday to Saturday. It updates on my calendar at the end of the day when I do that, which is great. So then it just pops up on my calendar and I was able to get my long run in and take my hot Epsom salt bath and spend the time with family on Sunday, which was wonderful. It was great to be able to do that. So overall, the week was great. We got to have a lovely anniversary week celebrating us for our 10-year wedding anniversary. And I had a goal of 4 cardio days. I did get 3, and I did get 2 strength days. So not 100%, but that's okay. I got 3 of the 4 cardio days, 75%. That's good enough. I shouldn't do that every single week, but I reorganized my week to fit my life, and I still made it so that I did the things that were part of the priority. Priority right now is training for this 10K, where I'm going to use that time for a proof of time for half marathon. So I needed to work on speed. So I chose to do 2 speed workouts and my long run. That fit my goals and it fit my life this week. That's what will work. That's how you stay consistent. I'm not going to get upset that I didn't get 5 cardio workouts this week. It's not the end of the world. 3 is awesome. 3 is awesome. And it meant that I got to spend time with people who usually aren't in town. And it meant I got to spend time with my husband to celebrate us. It's wonderful. And then I could move my long run around, which is perfectly acceptable. I recommend keeping your long run 5 to 7 days from your previous long run and before your next long run. So my previous week before, my long run was on Friday, so I could move it to Saturday. That's no problem. And then this week, my long run could have been Friday, the week that I'm recording this. It could have been Friday. I'm not making it Friday. I'm making it Saturday because of just how our life is going, and that's the way it's going to work. But then the following week, if it goes back to Friday, I don't have to do anything because it is still within that 5 to 7 day 5 to 7 day time frame. If I was moving it to something like Wednesday, I would need to plan out in advance, but I'm not, so I can do that. So remember, your week doesn't have to be perfect. Get what you can done and congratulate yourself on doing the best you can this week. Please take what you've learned in this episode and use it to adjust your strategy for your RunDisney race training. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things in the right balance so you can finish strong, not broken. And if you want personalized guidance specific to your race, your injury history, your running background, and your goals, that's exactly what we do inside Stronger, Faster, Finisher. You'll get step-by-step instructions and a proven system to help you train smarter from start to finish. Join the waitlist today to be the first to know when it opens next. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.